Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And you already know today is about to be a banger as we have a juicy amount of crypto news. Now, first of all, the crypto market's moving down a little bit today. You can see at about minus 1.5 on average. The total crypto market cap shows though that it's about 2.28% down over on the daily, and I guess it clearly shows as you go lower and lower into the altcoins, as a lot of these are down roughly about 4% over the last 24 hours. Having said that, many are talking about this crazy breakdown in the crypto markets, but actually in the traditional stock markets that are reflected upon crypto. Take a look at this article right here. Crypto's $2 trillion shakedown pretends Lehman moment. Now, I don't want to take us back all the way to 2008, 2009, except for the fact that, well, if you think you can accurately predict when this entire shift, this paradigm shift, or the big recession is going to start, well, you notice you're mostly wrong, or at least it's not as easy to predict as a lot of people are saying, in the sense that there can be fake outs. And like we saw in 2020, a lot of people thought the recession would start at that point. It didn't. In this case again as well, we might now all think, okay, the stock market is gonna keep moving lower throughout the year, which will ultimately also take down all these crypto. But there literally is a chance that cryptos can be salvaged purely because of their inherent inverse correlation due to the inflation problem that they're fixing, but also, for example, the fact that they're going to combat inflation in a better way than we expected, or the fact that inflation is going to really numb down all of a sudden. I'm not saying a stock market crash is not going to happen. I'm just saying that there's a lot of variables in all of this. Now, we are trading it though, right? Whenever we get the opportunity to find a juicy little trade, we take it. And that's actually what was bringing me to this right here. Guys, the Dusty BC Legends team has now been formed, all right? Little clap for all of us. We have 52 people in, and this is the World Series of Trading over on Bybit, an $8 million competition. And even though the people have not been doing too good thus far, it has officially started. We are ranked 225th, but I think we might actually end up in the top 10. I'm going to be sharing a lot of my trades over on Telegram, which I recommend you guys to join. I'll place a link down below for that. It's going to be something along the lines of alerts or maybe platinum. In regards to what the cryptos are doing, right now XRP is looking to form yet another breakout in the short term. You can see here how the price is reacting, and even though it looks as if a breakout towards the downside is coming, that is actually mostly based upon Bitcoin, which has gotten rejected at this similar little box here time and time again. Right now it's most likely bouncing between the moving average and this little box, but we've talked before about where we think Bitcoin is going to head. We talked before about how it could break down, which again we got to fake out a little bear trap we had over there. Right now it's basically hit the top point of the resistance before again getting rejected at this zone, and if we pull this through, you can see here this is just the resistance that we're facing, and we keep bouncing off of that. One of the points I'd like to add there is, for example, the adjusted SOPR, where this measure basically showcases, and you guys can't see it properly if my thick face is in the midst, but this basically showcases how many people are taking profits. And again, whenever this number is below 1, people are realizing their losses, which is bad. Well, it's bad, but also good. Basically, the longer this downtrend lasts, the more likely it is that a turnaround is going to happen. Now, we've recently, somewhere throughout the middle of June, hit a crazy, ridiculous dip. And right here, I think a couple of days ago, maybe even just today or yesterday, we have hit another top. But then again, you guys can all see it's still a descending line. The moment that this switches around, though, the moment that we make a new higher high is the moment that things might turn around for the crypto space as well, as people are starting to realize their, I guess, profits at that point again on a consistent basis, or at least are cashing out less of their losses. Having said that, we talked about XRP a little bit, we talked about Bitcoin a little bit. There's actually a couple of really interesting things happening in the crypto space, or I guess rather in the metaverse space. I just saw this article. Meta launches MetaPay, a metaverse dedicated digital wallet. But again, guys, remember what I just told you guys yesterday. There's a lot of cool announcements for a lot of the cryptos that we know and love in this metaverse, like for example, Ripple. Ripple concludes a new partnership to create an open metaverse, and it's so coincidental that they have had the 2024 side of just noticing everything a little bit before it becomes a really big deal. What I mean with that is we've just seen Meta and all these other companies come into one specific forum, but Meta is also expanding on the metaverse right now, and Ripple just got themselves into this sector right before a couple of these very important announcements were made. That is smart. And by the way, if you're an XRP holder, you already know one of the biggest factors is most likely going to be the lawsuit. Again, I'd like to go and praise here that this metaverse is going to have some crazy effect in the short term, because because, well, it could. But we all know that the biggest factor for the XRP price over long term is going to be utility. Over medium term, however, is going to be this lawsuit. And if you're wondering, we have a couple of decisions coming up rather shortly. Eleanor Tourette said over on Twitter, what we are waiting for in the SEC v. Ripple case. Two things. One, for Judge Nedburn to make a decision on whether the Hinman emails and documents fall under the attorney-client privilege. And two, Judge Torres's decision on the SEC's motion to seal its opposition to John Deaton's request to file an amicus brief on the agency's expert witness, Patrick Doody. John Dean tells me both decisions are imminent and could be made by the end of the week. We're basically waiting for the judge to make some decision on whether or not these things will go through. And again, if you want to kind of have them in different words, the first part is about the emails regarding an SEC member's speech. We want to know exactly, did the SEC give guidance and what exactly was said about XRP in the background there. And the second part is that there was a person whom the SEC contacted that said, here's the reason as to why XRP holders bought XRP. John Dean read that and was like, I don't think that's the reason people bought XRP, and so they wanted to come on in and rectify that. To which the SEC said, Our last piece of Ripple here actually ties into the story quite well, but you'll see that in just a second. Ripple and Stellar, and this from a couple of weeks ago, to help launch a UDC stablecoin for Novati Group. Now, why this is important, I'll tell you guys in just a second. Let's first move on to one piece of news that I think is crazy. Guys, take a look at this. This is wild. The Celsius CEO, Alex Mashinsky, is apparently accused of trying to run amidst company bankruptcy. Now, that part we all knew. We knew Celsius was in a lot of trouble, and we actually covered that Goldman Sachs might buy them out at $2 billion, which is crazy. But the Celsius CEO, Alex Mashinsky, again, this is allegedly, booked a flight to Israel. And it was reportedly halted by authorities at the airport, though. The company's liquidation issues remain at large with no solution offered yet and investors not looking to offer bail. Again, there can be a lot of different explanations for this, but it's kind of interesting to see. There is such a huge amount of trouble, and all of a sudden he's trying to go to Israel, and he gets caught at the airport. This does not look good for them, and I think you guys will agree with me on that one. Especially if you consider that they froze all the withdrawals a little while ago. They froze you from utilizing their platform to the fullest extent. They've got your money locked up. You don't leave the country if you're in such a situation. You already know that people will find that extremely sketch. I'm looking at this for just 5 seconds and thinking, he's gonna flee to Israel, huh? Even though he might just be from there. He might just want to visit his freaking grandma whose birthday it is. I don't know. But the moment that you're holding millions upon, I guess, in this case, billions of dollars worth of other people's money, and there's a lot of controversy surrounding that, not so smart to try to leave the country. But there's even more interesting news. Look at this. Terra's Do Kwon appears in crosshairs over hacktivism group Anonymous, or of. So apparently, Anonymous is seeking to expose Do Kwon even further. They are saying right now that they want to expose everything that happened in the background and why this all portrayed. Again, warning shots fired. Hacktivist group Anonymous wants to bring Do Kwon to justice as soon as possible. Apparently, they got themselves a new target, Do Kwon. And again, they're saying Anonymous claims that Do Kwon single-handedly is responsible for scamming billions of dollars away from retail investors. Again, this is allegedly. It is very hard to say whether or not he really scammed us or was just making some really grave mistakes. All we know is that that man is most likely still extremely wealthy, as again, we've seen his investments before, right? We all know he has tens of millions of dollars invested in seed rounds from a lot of companies. So worst case, if all those investments return just exactly the money put in, he still has tens of millions of dollars, but it's alleged that he still has hundreds of millions of dollars, if not over $1 billion. And people are going after Do Kwon really severely. They're looking at everything he's done in the past and they're grabbing up everything. And a lot of people are now saying that he had bad intentions from the start. So all this stuff was not done to just make the world a better place. No, it was done to make money and to really scam a lot of people, which again is a heavy accusation, but we'll see how this turns out over the next couple of weeks. And then take a look at this, and this is also where the Ripple Stellar story ties in. The Swiss National Bank executive says regulators may favor centralized stablecoins after the Terra crisis. Again, guys, you all know UST. Crazy situation. People lost crazy amounts of money, but that also is igniting a lot of new stablecoin / cryptocurrency regulation. And one of the major parts that it might change or alter is the way in which we see DeFi from a certain perspective. I mean, Celsius, I think, has a certain role in DeFi, and Luna also has a certain role in DeFi, but they tie together. What I mean to say is that from this point on forward, regulators really might look at a USDC a circle back in a certain stablecoin, proper one-to-one backing, instead of algorithmic stablecoins for saying that is good. But even then, they might want to take it 7 layers deeper or so, where all these other stablecoins just get outlawed that are not properly backed. And so I think it's kind of coincidental to see Ripple again coming in clutch on a stablecoin joint venture, I guess is this. So I'm not 1,000% sure. I just heard the Novati Group CEO, I believe, or some of the higher ups there explaining in a little interview that it's a cross-chain solution. And a couple of guys hinted this to me over on Twitter a little while ago, but I honestly didn't think much of it until I started to see again the freaking ties being formed right there. Ripple has shown to the majority of us that they are before the curve just a little bit every single time. Again, we see some sort of FUD regarding regulators looking into centralized proper stablecoins after the terror crisis. Boom, Ripple comes in with a new crazy announcement of handling all these stablecoins in a certain manner. Again, we are starting to see some crazy news in the metaverse realm. And what happened about 2 weeks prior to that? Ripple going into a major, massive metaverse project or opening, I guess. It's just crazy, guys. It is just crazy. Having said that, crypto is always a crazy realm. It is always a crazy world, and you guys should, I guess, embrace it from a certain perspective. It's also what makes all this stuff fun. Let me know down below what your favorite altcoin is, though, and what I should make a video about next. And I'll see you guys in another one. But if you enjoyed it, make sure you press that like button.